Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. I'll be hosting today, and we got a good show for you. I definitely said Nuggets in 5. My co-host didn't want to jump on my boat, didn't want to jump on the wagon. That's okay, because that'll be our first topic of the day. We got some other goodies in for you. We're gonna do some more season grading for the NBA. Finalize it with MLS Saudi kind of money fight. Messi saving the MLS. So let's get the show started. And Nuggies in 5. So like I was saying before, everyone, Nuggets in 5. You heard it from me first. Nuggets in 5. I told you guys every episode. Nuggets in 5. When the Heat won their one game, I said it was okay. Nuggets in 5. So, my lovely partner, what is your take on Nuggets in 5?
What is my take? I think finally the Heat ran into a better team. I think Nuggets definitely deserve to win. On my end, it was smart for me to pick Heat in 7 just because, Nuggets were probably the best team they've gone against. I mean, arguably the Celtics have the most talent, but I feel like the Nuggets, if you look at the regular season, just, they've been together for a couple of years now, so there's a lot of cohesion, a lot of chemistry, right? Offensive juggernaut, and they had a decent enough defense to get the job done. So heading into the series, I thought, hey, as long as Miami can slow them down a little bit and just keep up, scoring 110 points a game, which they were doing through the first 3 rounds, I was like, hey, we got a shot, right? But Nuggets proved me wrong. I think the Nuggets, they stepped up on defense. Miami didn't break 100 points I think the whole series besides one game. And then the Nuggets, like when they needed buckets, Jokic got them buckets, Murray got them buckets, Aaron Gordon, he got timely buckets, and Bruce Brown stepped up as the 6th man, really led the bench unit.
Christian Braun was pretty good too.
And the rookie, the rookie played some big minutes, which is huge because usually, and I think it was I was watching either the Ryan Windhorst podcast or it might have been like on NBA Today or something, but they were like, usually, rookies don't play big minutes in the playoffs, let alone like a final series. So that's very, very impressive. I think all in all, like the Nuggets just a better team, and it's just one of those series where the better team is going to win. Obviously, you look at the last series Miami played, Celtics were probably the more talented team, and you would usually go with the more talented team. But I think in this case, number one, Miami probably ran out of gas. Number 2, probably all the injuries finally caught up with them, from Jimmy to Gabe. I think Bam was a little banged up too. I mean, everyone was just banged up. So, I mean, hats off to the Nuggets. Really good series. I think the Heat had a good chance, slowed them down a little bit. Nuggets weren't scoring their usual pace, really slowed the game down. It just came down to making shots, and Miami doesn't have enough firepower. So, yeah, it sucks. But as a Heat fan, any Miami Heat fans out there, you should be proud of the team, how they perform, because a playing team finally made the finals. Well, finally made the conference finals, the Lakers and the Heat. But finally, a play-in team made the finals, which I guess it pretty much proves that the play-in tournament works, right? You can be an 8th seed, you can be a 9th seed, and you can make it to the finals. So I don't want to hear any more about getting rid of the play-in tournament. But I'm going to hand it back over to you. I know you picked Nuggets in 5, but what were your key takeaways?
I mean, some of the things that were discussed, like we were talking about with the friends in our group chat, they were like, okay, well, see, the Nuggets just like to want to force feed someone the ball. I mean, to an extent, like every team does that. And to an extent, the Nuggets just do it better than other teams because now a lot of teams, they want to force feed the best player the ball as soon as they get going, which doesn't allow anyone else to get going. But when someone like Bruce Brown or Christian Braun or, well, pretty much only those two besides Aaron Gordon, but Aaron Gordon overall had a good finals. But like when your role players are scoring proficiently, then you can let your better players like Jokic and Murray, chill out for a little bit because they're going to get theirs eventually. It kind of felt like a little bit like the Heat were just trying to force feed Bam and Jimmy all the time. Which I get it, they're your best two players, but you should just know, that, okay, well, Jimmy Butler, he's gonna get his. Bam, he's gonna get his. Like, there shouldn't be any force feeding of the ball to them, because you should know in the back of your mind, like, they're gonna get it. Like, I don't need to force it down their throat. Like, it's gonna happen organically, which is kind of how the Nuggets were playing. Was they knew their stars were gonna get theirs when they got it, so let's not force the issue. And that's just something I felt like the Heat weren't doing most of the time. It was, okay, we're in a bad spot. Jimmy saved me. And then Jimmy would kind of either get him out of the hole. Well, it was kind of like that first half in the final game 5. It seemed like at the beginning it was like, okay, Bam, you're hot. Save us. No one else was even touching the ball remotely. But okay, that's good. It's really good for Bam. But then coming out the second half, Bam didn't do anything. Given he just gave everyone everything the first half, the Nuggets were able to, okay, let's make sure Bam doesn't do that again. And because they were doing that, it just seemed like everyone else came out of the locker room flat because they just made Bam do everything in the last 3 minutes. And then I think it was like, what was the stat last year I remember looking at? The third quarter was the money quarter. So yeah,
for the Warriors.
The third period was the money period, and the same thing happened to the Nuggets this time around. The third period, they destroyed everyone every single time. As soon as the third period started, it was just, all right, let's lay it on, just hard. And you can't even, for some of the series, you can say, okay, it was coaching, like Mike Malone, like he's a good coach. He's had his guys for a while. He's got it. He knows what they need to do in and out at halftime. But I'm not on I'm not on this wagon saying that he's a better coach than Eric Spoelstra. I just think, like you said, he just had better talent. And Eric Spoelstra could start a game with, he could start the game perfectly. Like game 5, it was going so smoothly and perfectly. It just seemed like at the end of the period, it was, okay, let's just force feed Bam. He's kind of efficient right now, but no one else is getting any kind of licks in. And you gotta have to look at that like, okay, so these guys basically didn't shoot a basket for 5 minutes, and they're gonna take a 15-minute timeout, and they're gonna come back. Well, these guys haven't really shot for 20 minutes now. And I'm not talking about shoot around, I'm talking about flow of the game shots. And that just kind of seemed like maybe that was part of the reason why they came out so flat at the beginning of the third. And then don't get me wrong, they corrected it by the end of the third period because they still had a lead. It just seemed like the writing was on the wall by the end of it for the third period.
Yeah, I agree. As I think that's the problem they've had probably like leading into the playoffs, right? Was just like not being able to score like timely baskets, not being able to get like a good flow in offense. And I think, and Uncle Shannon said this perfectly this morning. He was just like, Miami just regressed to the means, right? They regressed to what they were prior to the playoffs, right? Prior to the play-in tournament, which is last in scoring, like one of the worst teams in offensive efficiency. They had like a negative net rating. Like all those things came back to haunt them. Even though for like about 20 games, they were averaging about 110 points per game, shooting like 39% from three for whatever reason. And you could say it's injuries. You could say, like Eddie Howe said on Undisputed this morning, Heat pretty much were fatigued out. I think the Heat played like 23 games opposed to the Nuggets went like 16-1 or 16-2 or something like that, or 16-3. So, I mean, those extra 4 games, and I mean, they'll catch up to you. And Nuggets had like a week off in between the conference finals and finals. So I think that had a lot to play into it. But yeah, I agree with you. Spoelstra is definitely the better head coach, but I think in this instance, if we compare the Nuggets to the Celtics, like the Celtics were, they're together the same amount of time as the Nuggets, right? That core. Mm-hmm. But I think the difference is, okay, Mike Malone's coached that same group for a long time, as opposed to, hey, Joe Mazzulla's his first time rookie head coach. He knows the team, but it's not like, it's hard to like command a team like a rookie head coach. It's just hard, right? You can't achieve everything your first year. So that's probably the key difference in between the two series. And we saw how veteran head coach with a veteran locker room, he knows his guys. He knows, how to poke them. I need you to do this, need you to do that. Teaching his guys, hey, I need you to, commit to defense. I need you to commit to turning the ball over. We're going to let Bam shoot mid-ranges. We're going to let, Jimmy pump fake all he wants. Don't leave your feet. We're going to close out on the three-point shooters. We're going to stop that dribble handoff action with Bam and Duncan at the top of the key, and they played their game plan perfectly. So Mike Malone's one hell of a coach, definitely deserved the win, but I think you said it perfectly. Like, when you have the better talent and you're a good head coach, it's just like, those are like the two ingredients you need to like make the perfect, like, conditions to win. So yeah, it was hard to watch, but then again, it's always good to watch the Nuggets play some good basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I mean, they haven't won a championship in, they said 47 years?
Well, since the ABA, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's justified time. You can say that this was a long time coming since the first time they went. And unfortunately, not even first time. The first time they got to the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers, but they went in there without Murray. The Heat, like you said, they ran out of gas. There's nothing really against them on that. I mean, I'm not really going to blame it on injuries because they didn't have Hero for the entire time. It just seemed like every team in the East didn't take the Heat seriously, and they used it to their advantage. The only team that took the Heat seriously the entire playoffs was the Nuggets. And that's just the best way to put it. Like, no one took them seriously. And I think that has to go to, if you're the Celtics, if you're the 76ers, and the Bucks, I think that you need to look at your leadership in your room and see if it's the right one there, because, well, I mean, there's a reason why the Nuggets were the only team, and technically they were the best team in the NBA, and they were the only one to take them seriously. There's got to be a reason behind it, and it's because you look in the room, you got Jeff Green, good veteran leadership. KCP's won a title. He knows how to do it. He probably got yelled at by LeBron inside the locker room. He knows how to get people in gear. I mean, Jokic was so focused. As soon as he won the title, I just want to go home. So, like,
yeah,
he came there, to get what needed to be get done, and take his ass home. Didn't even care he won an MVP. They could have given it to Murray. He wouldn't have cared.
Yeah, and I mean, that's pretty much what you want in your superstar. A guy who's just, hey, I'm here to get the job done. I'll get the job done however I can. with him, hey, I'll grab 20 rebounds. Hey, if you need me to score 40, I'll score 40. If you need me to get 15 assists, I'll get 15 assists. Like, he doesn't mind doing anything Mike Malone or the other guys, need from him. So he's definitely the best player in the world. I mean, once you win, you take the crown. So I don't want to hear any more Giannis. Definitely don't want to hear any more Joel Embiid. That he didn't deserve the MVP. You clearly see it now. Kevin Durant, don't want to hear that. None of those guys. I mean, Jokic he's the best. He's the best guy on the planet. It's gonna take another team next season to dethrone them. So, yeah, I mean, it was a great series. Some people might say it was boring. I don't know if you think it was boring. I don't think it was boring just because it was low scoring. I mean, the Nuggets scored the lowest amount of points all playoffs. Like during the Lakers series, I'm going at some scores from the Nuggets. I mean, game 1 they had 132. Game 2 they had 108, but game 3 they had they had either total scoring in like the 110s or the 120. So like, I know a lot of people like high scoring games nowadays, but I don't know, something about like a grind, a grind out game where there's a lot of defense played, a lot of hard fouls. Like, I like seeing that type of playoff action. I don't know about yourself.
I mean, I just think it's kind of impressive that they got the job done, and Jamal Murray only had 14 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists. But his plus minus was plus 12. So I mean, he didn't do a whole lot offensively, but he just was in your face. I mean, at one point he was the only one who was not on the verge of fouling out. I mean, it was muddy waters in that first period for the Nuggets. Just on the verge of fouling out multiple times for multiple players. I mean, Aaron Gordon had 3 fouls with the first half. So, well, I mean, it was a good. I thought it was a good series. I don't see the love in high scoring affairs. I mean, I'd rather just see 2 good teams keep it close. For the most part, the series was close. No, it did get away from the heat in most games towards the end of the series, towards the end of the fourth quarters. You can probably see that, when you play as much as they've been playing. So,
no.
I mean, this topic doesn't get us too far away from our next topic, which is the, NBA grading of the series, season grades. We're going to do the Heat and the Nuggets. What are they going to do this offseason? How their season went? I think it's pretty fair when we know their season went. So we'll meet you back on that grind. Back. Talking about the Denver Nuggets and the Miami Heat here. Moving forward for the next season, both these teams, I mean, they got a lot to smile about, one more than the other. I mean, one has, I guess, not a lot of bit of a work to do, but one has to figure something out in order to make it back to the promised land. The other one, they just made it to the promised land, So what if I don't make it back? This is the first time in NBA history that the last 5 champions were not a repeat. So, if current history speaks for itself, the Nuggets should be glad that they made it when they made it. They're glad and everything. We're top of the mountain right now. Let's not worry about it until we have to worry about it. But I guess we'll start with your team since, it's your team. The Miami Heat, what do you think needs to happen for them? How do you think their season went? I mean, I think I pretty much know how you think their season went, but Udonis Haslam's basically finally gone, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, maybe. I don't know. Man doesn't want to leave.
Gone. He's gone.
Anywho, he's gone. What's the next chapter?
Yeah, so I think we talked about this maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago, but basically, if you make the finals, it's basically an automatic A, and then from there, if you win, of course, you get an A plus. If you lose, it's pretty much an A. So I'm gonna go with an A. It's not an A plus for me, although I really do want to give them an A plus just because they were a play-in team, made it all the way to the finals, first team to ever do that since the play-in was instituted back in the bubble. Yeah, I think overall, if we look back at the regular season, this team wasn't really a seed, and we've said that many times. Like, they were probably in between like a 3 and 5th seed, probably in that range, more likely. So, but just due to injuries and a lot of people in and out the lineups, I think that Miami had like 26 different starting lineups throughout the regular season, which was like one of the most. So it's not good. You don't have good chemistry, cohesion, at least amongst the starters, because you don't know who you're going to see every night. You don't know who you're going to play with every night. So it's not good. And even in the playoffs, because of the different injuries, there were multiple different starting lineups that Spo used in some of these playoff rounds. So with all that being said, regular season was an A, postseason is an A, so we're just going to put them all together and overall A. But looking ahead, I'm sure everyone has, heard or seen some video out there about, hey, Pat Riley's going to go hunting. If you don't know, Pat Riley is an old man. I'm pretty sure Pat Riley is like 86 or something. Let me just double check. But in terms of, he's 78. So he's getting up there. He doesn't have too many years left that he can, do this at like a high level, right? I mean, once you get up there in age, it's, sometimes you just don't want to keep doing stuff, right? And he's been on record saying he wants at least one more before he calls it quits. So from that standpoint, and, the new CBA taking into effect this offseason, but the more strict rules don't take into effect next offseason, Miami has a very, very short window of when they can basically go big whale hunting, which is basically this offseason up until the trade deadline. But most realistically, big whale hunting season is going to be between now, July, 1st is when free agents can start signing. So in between now and July 1st, we're going whale hunting. And I'm sure everyone's seen, all the Dame trade talks. I think that's Miami's biggest priority right now. If you guys don't already know, Portland has the 3rd pick. And Dame's been on the record multiple times this season saying, hey, he doesn't have the patience or time to, want to help develop a young kid, right? Like, basically, he's in a win now mode. Dame is like 33, going on 34. He's on the same type of timeline as like a Pat Riley, like a Jimmy Butler. Like, the guy doesn't have too many good years left. So he wants to win now. And basically, if they want to keep that pick, hey, he's most likely going to say, hey, just, do right by me, get me out of here. And he's already been on record saying, hypothetically, if he asks for a trade, Miami's his first destination. So I think just based on how trades have been in recent memory, if you're in the East, you go West. If you're West, you go East. So Miami is probably a prime target. Miami has 3 picks they can trade. If they change protections on the Oklahoma City pick in 2025, they'll have up to 4. So I think Dame is the priority. Secondary targets for me, I think we should go after, let's see here. I don't like Zach LaVine, so no Zach LaVine. Karl Anthony Towns, I don't like the fit with Bam, so no. I think Bradley Beal will be a nice compliment if he can stay healthy. And of course, if he wants to go there, because there's a no trade clause. And I think a 3rd star. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I think a 3rd star you can probably go after. Maybe like a Pascal Siakam if they want to blow that up. I really don't know how that fit is going to work with Bam. He probably might not want to do that. It's probably like a last resort, but Miami definitely needs a 3rd star. I don't think it needs to be a superstar like Dame, but if we can get a 3rd star that's not Cat or Zach LaVine, I definitely think that'll take us over the hump. But other than that, for this offseason, basically, let's keep Gabe. Gabe Vincent needs to stay. They're allowed to, go over the cap to sign him. Max Strus, he's expendable, especially if you're going to keep Hero and not do a trade. I say you let Max walk. And then some of these other guys, Omir, Spo hasn't really been a big fan of Omir. So you probably could let him walk, especially if you're going to keep Love. I would let him walk. Jamal Kane, you probably can keep him. Or Leonard Robinson, he's shown promise, probably keep him. We definitely let Zeller walk. Oladipo, he's going to pick up the player option, so he'll pick it up, and then his salary could be used for trade filler later on towards the trade deadline. And if we can, let's move off of Lowry. $30 million is too much for his production. He's basically the sixth man. You just got to let him go at some point. Either keep him or use him as trade filler. So, I mean, that's pretty much all I got. I'm going to let you take it off. I got some other things I want to add, but I'm going to let you get your word in.
Well, I don't have much of a word. I was thinking more of maybe Jimmy Butler leaving.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Ooh, yeah.
He's not. If anyone is available, it's going to be Bam. I think. And we talked about this on like episodes way back, but basically Bam is undersized and Bam can't be your second option. So if anyone is going to go, it's going to be Bam. I think Jimmy's proved that he's the guy to get you there, but he's not the guy to get you over the hump. See, it's more like a Kyrie. He can get you there in terms of, Kyrie helped LeBron get to the finals. Kyrie helped LeBron overcome 3-1. But basically, I mean, LeBron's the guy to get you over the hump.
I mean, okay. You don't think Jimmy Butler's just going to go find a different place where he can win now? Because do you think the Heat can still keep this mentality of win now? Because, they've been in the thick of things for the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Most of the time when teams are in the thick of things for a couple of years, there's a falling off period. And you haven't had your falling off period yet, so it means it's bound to happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, 3 conference finals in 4 years, 2 finals in 4 years. Basically, last year, I mean, Jimmy was a shot away from going back to the finals. So it would have been 3 finals in 4 years. So I don't think Jimmy's the guy that is a problem. I feel like if there's a problem, it's Bam. And I'm not advocating for Bam to get traded, by the way. I think Bam should stay, let them get a third star. Because Hero, I don't think Hero's that guy. But if they want to include Hero and Bam, or Bam and Lowry, I think that's where they go. I don't think Jimmy's the problem.
I don't think Jimmy wants you to get rid of his little boy Hero. I think he likes him too much. I think you're better off with that Lowry Bam kind of trade. And then that makes sense if Portland was to do that, to go for Bam and Kyle and hope that Kyle trains their young star. Because that's kind of what he's going to be good for in the next couple of years with that contract and with that age. Unless he's willing to take a buyout and then go somewhere for lesser money. Which I don't think the Portland for the last couple of years has been proven that they want to buy players out. And I think he kind of missed his train with the whole Thunders buying everyone out and Pistons buying everyone out. So,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Portland wants Bam. I feel like Hero's probably their trade target because he's younger, contract smaller. Because Bam's up for a contract basically next season, he can get his supermax next season. And he's probably gonna make All NBA. So I don't think Portland wants to pay another guy like $300 million.
See, my thing is, I don't think the issue on your team. I don't think Gabe Vincent's an issue. I think he's fine.
Yeah.
You gotta remember the Heat won back in the day with Mario Chalmers. Mario Chalmers wasn't anything that extremely special. He just did a great winning job. Oh man, I'm trying to think of the guy who plays for Detroit, Bogdanovich. I don't know what it is about Bogdanovich for Detroit. Not the Atlanta Hawk one. We're not talking about the Atlanta Hawk one. We're talking about the one that plays in Detroit. I feel like he would be perfect for your team, off the bench kind of role. You just need my only problem is when you're sixth man, because your sixth man is no longer hero. When your sixth man coming off the bench is an aging Kyle Lowry. I mean, it's pretty cool in the playoffs because he was pretty special early on in the playoffs. Towards the end, you saw his legs wear out. I think Bogdanovich just he helps you score. I think he also allows Jimmy Butler to get more rest. Because he can play Jimmy's spot. So he allows Jimmy to get more rest. So you're not playing Jimmy 43 minutes every single playoff game. Like, it's just, no offense, it's just stupidity. I mean, he shouldn't have to play 43 minutes every single night for 23 straight games. So I think a player like that, because you also got to think, like, you're getting to this point without superstars. Like, you're getting there without, like, the best of the best. Like, Jimmy Butler is probably borderline superstar, but guaranteed star. Bam is probably all-star-ish, almost star level.
He's all-star.
But, like, Bogdanovich, a couple years ago when he was on the Pacers, he was borderline all-star. And he's just been playing with bums and scrubs. And you finally get him a chance to play with someone who's not a bum and a scrub, he might do something. And his contract isn't going to be the worst thing in the world. It's a team like the Pistons who, they're the wolf crab. They're not afraid to take on players to, move contracts, and they probably would love to move his contract so they can fill in their roster a little bit more. There's just something about that kind of pairing that sits well with me. And then moving off Bam, somehow, some way, but then you could move off Bam and somehow convince a player like Brook Lopez to come play with you. I think that works out better. You don't want Brook Lopez?
I'm not trading Brook Lopez for Bam. What the hell?
Oh, no, we're not talking about trading Brook Lopez for Bam. We're just talking about getting rid of Bam and then filling his role with Brook Lopez. Then that way you can pay Damian Lillard lots of money.
No. I think there is.
You just don't want to win.
No, I mean, if you can convince the Bucks to sign and trade Brook Lopez for like Duncan Robinson or take Lowry's expiring contract, yeah, I would do that and then play Brook Lopez alongside Bam. I feel like that's a good pairing, but I'm not going from like a young all NBA, all defensive team center to like an aging, even though he was like runner up in defensive player of the year, but I'm not going to an aging center who basically only has like 2 more good years left. No, that's not a good, no, I'm not getting rid of Bam. Not for that.
No winnings, huh? Don't want to win. That's fine with me. So let's move on to the Nuggets. Let's see here. Nuggets, Bruce Brown, he's gone. He's going to go get money somewhere else. Some dumb team. Let's be realistic. Probably the Wizards, because they're stupid. We'll give him lots of money. I mean, Jeff Green, who knows about that one? DeAndre Jordan, he's probably walking. Thomas Bryant, I'd keep him, but we don't know where he's going to go. Reggie Jackson, someone's going to pay him something. Ish Smith, he'll be a free agent until like halfway through the season, and he'll end up on someone's roster, just riding the bench. Probably both rookies stay. I mean, if we're going to be talking about this team, obviously an A+. Miami Heat, you gave them an A. I would just give them an A+. They're a play-in team that made the finals. You just got to give it to them. They proved that the play-in tournament isn't a joke. Teams can actually get to the play-in and make fire happen, or just scare teams. So I think it's important to look at it that way. But another thing about this Nuggets team, then, I mean, I think going into next year, I think it's just kind of like weather the storm kind of vibes because your entire starting lineup is intact until 2025. So like everyone's going to come out to get you. Um, you don't need to win the West. Kind of if I'm the Nuggets, I'm just kind of looking to survive next season. Like I'm just trying to make myself into the playoffs. Right into the playoffs as a second, third seed. Because they kind of prove that I can win on the road and I can win at home. So they don't have to worry about having to play too many road games if you're the second or third seed. There's going to be certain teams, in my opinion, that are going to be gunning for that top speed a little too hard. And I think, just if you're the Nuggets, you got to look at sustainability on your team. Like maybe having a backup point guard for Jamal Murray so that way during the, not preseason, during the regular season, Jamal Murray can, play 28 minutes max, 30 minutes max a game kind of thing. Like, I get it. It's a long time ago that he tore his ACL, but you still don't want to make it happen before you get to the playoffs like it happened, what, 2002, 2020? Like, you got to know that if I make it to the playoffs healthy, I'm a favorite no matter what. So I think big picture for the Nuggets, strictly for this offseason, is going to be all about depth and just making sure that like I can play my starting unit 28 minutes a game and I'm still going to win enough games to become the second or third seed. Because I just think a team like the Suns, I just feel like the Suns are just going to go all balls to the wall hard to win every single game possible and lock themselves into that number one seed. And then if you're in Nuggets, like, okay, if I'm the second or third seed, that's perfectly fine with me because then I don't have to worry about them until the conference finals.
Yeah, I'm right with you. Nuggets get an A+. Number one seed all season for the most part in the West. For a good chunk of the season, they're the best team in the league until the Bucks came around. They won the chip, so they're the Kings. Hey, they're on the top of the throne. They're on top of those Colorado mountains they got in Denver. And they're just looking over everyone right now. And like you were saying, basically they have to weather the storm this offseason. Going into next season is they're basically doing a waiting game. Their core is signed for the most part for about 2 more years. I think KCP has a player option after next season, so maybe at least 4 out of your 5 is signed for 2 more seasons. KCP potentially 2 if he picks up that option, but if they go back to back, he might want more money. Who knows? Especially because he's not old. He is 30, so potentially he might be up for another big contract after next season, especially if they go deep again. He's probably up for another big contract because he'll be 31. But you basically have a 2-year window. You just got to weather the storm. They have 2 picks this draft, number 37 and number 40. They picked up the extra pick from that trade they did a couple of days ago, which basically they get the worst of like a combination of picks from like Oklahoma City and a bunch of other teams. So basically, to keep the depth, they're going to have to keep hitting on these lower picks because they're going to be good. They're going to have, pretty low first round picks like in the late 20s, 30, 31, 32. And then in the second round, they're just going to have to get picks from other teams to get like that late first round, second round talent so they can add some depth. And because of the new CBA, you can add second round draft picks to like I think up to 4 years for like that minimum rookie salary. So like 4 years for whatever that number is. So they can lock in rookies for basically the same amount of time as like a first rounder, but at a cheaper price. So that's basically what they're going to do because they're right at that second level of the cap. So basically, they don't have their mid level if they keep either Brown or Jeff Green. So if they keep one of those two, they're not going to have access to that. If they let them both walk, which I don't think is going to happen, they will have access to that $5 million. So there's not much wiggle room in terms of who they can add. And you already said it, like Bruce Brown's probably going to leave. Some team's going to overpay him, try to get him away from the Nuggets so that they can kind of fall a little bit low on a totem pole. But you kind of alluded to it, like the Suns are going to go try hard. It's probably not going to work out for them. The Warriors, they still have the same issues. Like, are they going to keep the team intact? Are they going to try to move off of Poole or Draymond or Clay? We don't know. Their GM is gone. The Lakers, are the Lakers going to go all in for Kyrie? Or are they going to keep what they have and run it back? Try to get a whole training camp under their belt. There's a lot of variables in the West next season. And basically, in my eyes, it's basically the Nuggets and the Lakers. I feel like those are the top dogs in the West. So everyone else is iffy. Warriors, the Mavs, Suns, everyone else is iffy. And Memphis, don't get me started on them. Jaw's probably going to be gone for half the season. So Memphis is probably going to be a play-in team next year. So
Memphis is probably going to be a play-in team, like you said. But I think a team we're forgetting about is the Sacramento Kings. I don't think this season was a fluke for them. And I think they're going to be a team that can easily, because they're young, and regular season wins are going to kind of come easy for them, just because they're going to out hustle those teams in the regular season.
But they're not beating the Lakers or the Nuggets, though.
Well, it doesn't matter. They're not. Then we're talking about getting to the playoffs. They're going to be a threat for regular season amount of wins. I mean,
for sure.
Because no offense with your Lakers, but they haven't been proven to stay healthy for a whole season. So I just feel like by the time they make it to the postseason again next year, they're going to go in there as a 4th or 5th seed again, just based on injuries that they always consistently have. It's not injuries that set them back from making the postseason. It's just injuries that set them back from being high seeds in the postseason, which a team like the Kings haven't really proven to have a problem with staying healthy this last season. Overall, most of the players on their roster haven't had a problem with staying healthy. Most of them have been pretty much Ironmans. But the Kings they have money to spend, and they're going to add someone. They're not going to be one of those idiots to spend on Bruce Brown because they don't really need him. Kind of what they need is a big man presence outside of Sabonis. But the Nuggets can't really add anyone. The Lakers are going to try to run it back, but we're trying to run it back as the Lakers. But at what cutoff point is it too much to pay Austin Reeves? Because some stupid franchise is going to try to give him the bag.
He's worth every penny. I mean, once he got the reins, basically once they got rid of Russ, and the Lakers were completely remade. So post All-Star break, the Lakers were a completely different team. So if we look at last season, we have pre-All-Star break, post All-Star break. I think in my eyes, those are two different Lakers teams. And so heading into this offseason, we basically have this Lakers team. Post All-Star, number one defense, high scoring. Basically, they could win games without LeBron. They could win games. I don't think AD was hurt. So basically, they proved that they could win games without LeBron. So basically, that's what I'm counting on. And you're right. If LeBron's, he's bound to get hurt. AD, he's bound to get hurt. But I feel like because this isn't a team that's, their third best player isn't Russ anymore. Their third best player is Austin Reeves. Then they got Rui. Then they have, they could keep Lonnie Walker. They could keep who else they have? They could keep Beasley, but I don't think so. But anyway, they have more of a chance to stay consistent and be in a top three with the Nuggets and the Kings. So I don't know. We'll see. But in terms of the Nuggets, I feel like you gotta hit on these picks. If not, hey, maybe trade both of these picks and try to slip into the late first. Maybe, a team that doesn't want to take on like a first round salary. Maybe they want to trade back into the second. Maybe they can slide into like a late 20s pick and get like a depth piece, maybe like a rotation piece as a rookie, like a Chris Brown. Like, he played big minutes for them. If they can find another type of player that can replace Bruce Brown's minutes in that late first round, hey, let me trade these 2 picks and slide on up and get that rotation piece. I feel like that would be a smart play.
I think a smart play for them. Damn, I'm trying to figure that guy's name from Iowa. Ooh, Iowa center. Oh man, what was his name? Big man, Luka Garza. I feel like Luka Garza would be perfect on the Nuggets. He plays for the Timberwolves and he'll be a free agent. He was a second round pick. I don't even know how he fell to the second round. He was literally the most dominant player ever. But he did extremely good against Denver in the final postseason game, and the one game they played in the preseason. Or no, sorry, the regular season. I don't know why I keep saying preseason. I think because we keep saying postseason. But I mean, Jokic training him for a little bit of time, and then him, kind of learning. They kind of have the same body type. Luka Garza probably is a little bit more athletic, probably not as wise, but he has the size, he has the build, he has the skin color, he has everything that Luka has. Not Luka, sorry. Jokic has. So like, I think Luka Garza, like, he will literally cost you nothing. You could literally give him a minimum contract. You let him play 15 minutes a game during the regular season. Oh yeah, he'll score some buckets for you.
That's not a bad move. Now, do we think, and I'm sure, I don't know if you watch Undisputed or ESPN today, but everyone's talking about, hey, Nuggets, they're the beginning of a dynasty. Do we agree with that? I don't think it's a fluke, but I don't think the Nuggets necessarily go back to back or go 2 for 3. What is your take on that?
I don't know. I just think that like the idea of a dynasty nowadays is so. I guess I don't want to say tainted, but like it's so win heavy. Like, oh, you have to win every year, essentially, or you have to like do it every year. It's like you be a dynasty? Like you could arguably say like they were already on the cusp of being a dynasty. Like they went to a conference final, they consistently made the playoffs. Now they won a finals. I mean, we call the Patriots a dynasty. Well, shit, yeah, they're a dynasty. But like, I don't think so. No, I just think that dynasties are too hard to become now, just based on the idea of what we have of dynasties, like the Warriors repeating all those years. Like you just don't ever see that anymore. Like the Patriots, like we haven't seen a team do it in the NFL since the Patriots, and there's a reason why. Like I just think that the way the sports are currently at right now, I just think people like to move around too much in order for your same pieces to consistently stay every year, to consistently win the big thing every year. I mean, if the Nuggets went on to, make two more straight Western Conference Finals, but then didn't make it, and then made one NBA Finals but lost, so that would make them an NBA Final winner, NBA West champion runner up, and then an NBA Finals runner up. I mean, that's not considered a dynasty. So I just think it's too hard to achieve. Now, in the past years, like kind of pre 2000s, some people might consider that a dynasty. Like this team has been like what everyone wants to be. You got to think of it like the '90s Bills. I think they went to the Super Bowl like '89 or was it '90? It was either '89 '90 for 4 straight Super Bowls. It was a Bills dynasty. But guess what? They never won the damn thing. But back in that time, they considered that a dynasty. To be honest, you kind of can consider it a dynasty. No one has ever made it to 4 straight Super Bowls. They just didn't win any of them. But you still made it every single year. You still made it more times than well, it's not really fair to say the Carolina Panthers, but you still made it to the Super Bowl more times than the Carolina Panthers. You still made it to the Super Bowl more times than the Detroit Lions, and you guys have been around the same amount of time. You've been to more Super Bowls. I think they've been to more Super Bowls than, like, I'm trying to think of some teams who have won Super Bowls, but have only won like 1 or 2, but just haven't been to any other ones. But, like, yeah, the Bills for 4 straight years, they went to a Super Bowl, and they were considered a dynasty back then. Nowadays, do we consider that a dynasty? No, you lost. No, you had won one of them, you might have been considered a dynasty now, but I just think it's too hard to achieve that anymore.
I mean, I feel like nowadays you need to win at least back-to-back, or like you need to win like 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5. I feel like at least if you win back-to-back, you're a dynasty, at least in the NBA, because that's pretty damn hard. But if you do like 3 out of 5, or you're like the Warriors, you did 4 out of 7 or 4 out of 8. Like the Warriors, like the last dynasty, and then before that, I don't know. You probably say the Heatles, but I don't really. I mean, they won back to back. I don't think that's a dynasty though. I think you need to at least win like 3 out of 5 or something.
I just think it's hard nowadays. There's so much movement around.
Man, it's so much money.
People don't stay anymore. So
too much money in all these sports leagues, but
well, that's our next topic is money and who's dying, who's coming, who's growing, who's losing. MLS versus the Saudi money. All right. Coming up. So MLS this week, actually it was late last week, announced that Lionel Messi from Argentina will be joining Inter Miami, team owned by David Beckham, or he's part ownership.
The great David Beckham.
I mean, I thought was an interesting topic to talk about, because if I had found time last week to talk about it, I was going to talk about it before Messi, literally the day before Messi joined Inter Miami, because the MLS has been losing money because they signed this deal with Apple TV. It's atrocious. If you pay attention to it now, because me and my girlfriend got Apple TV so we could binge watch Ted Lasso season 3. We binge watched that thing really quick with a free trial. So I noticed while I was on there that majority of the MLS games are no longer on that League Pass anymore, which was an extra $99. And nobody was watching it because they were trying to, I guess, segregate an entire league that, let's be realistic, no one really watched that much before. It wasn't the most popular. I mean, no one's really going to watch the MLS other than that they have nothing else to watch on TV. Because there's other things, the other sports leagues going on. Some people consider MLS just grown up college soccer, which a lot of the times it kind of is. But the problem, I mean, noticing was, and I'll just run down the list. The MLS was losing money. It was losing the draw in from older players. So kind of what it was is like, oh, well, I'm getting older. The talent at the MLS is just good enough to where at my older age, I can still keep up with these younger guys over here. It's all about offense. There's less about defense over in the MLS. So I don't have to face strict offenses. So older players who have lost a step on their, I guess not their offense, but their offensive skill, had lost a little bit of a step, they could come into the MLS and they could, take care of business, make some money. before the Messi signing, the highest paid players in MLS was Shaqiri with 8.2 million. He's a Swiss player. Insigne, he's 7.5 million a year. Chicharito, 7.4 million. That's kind of a joke nowadays because he's completely garbage. Bernadeschi at 6.3, DeRussi at 6 million, Hector Herrera at 5.3 million, and Douglas Costa at 4.5 million. So they're playing, and their yearly contracts aren't anything insane. Like, they're just not being paid huge money. Well, because the MLS doesn't have huge money. The part of the draw of MLS was, okay, you can retire, you can come to America, you can live in the glitz and glamour of America and live out your, younger days that you were in Europe. But, once you've fallen off that cliff in Europe and you can't make it anymore over there, people grow to get tired of you really quickly. In the MLS, they see a star, Americans see a star, and they're like, yes, 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 even if you aren't what you once were. Now, here the problem was the Saudi League is paying Ronaldo $200 million a year. When the top paid player in the MLS is 8.2 million, and Ronaldo, I get it, his name value, but the Saudi, they're not afraid to throw money at things. I mean, the whole entire Live Golf versus PGA Tour, and all those Live Golf players that are going back to the PGA Tour basically now after they got bought out, after getting all that money from the Saudis, they're enjoying themselves. But the Saudis are giving Ronaldo $200 million. Ever Banega, $10.6 million. And then there's a huge drop off to Mathis Pereira at $6.8 million, Talisca at $6.5 million. So you can see it outside of that Ronaldo getting $200 million. There's a huge jump off where the contracts match. Okay, they equal out to each other. They're the same level in terms of where they are as league plays. But now Benzema is going to join the Saudi League for no less than $220 million, with the possibility of making up to $320 million in a single year. And I think Messi coming to Inter Miami, and the fact that the MLS kind of doesn't really have a salary cap like other sports leagues, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because MLS, if it wants to compete on the grander stage, it's going to need to get rid of it. They can't have a salary cap because those European teams surely do not have a salary cap. And then secondly, like, if your sports league in America isn't going to have a regulation, what is it called? Relegation. Sorry, a relegation system, in which the tier below you team can actually rise and go ahead of you if you're trash. So you can't sit there and be a team like the San Jose Earthquakes or the Chicago Fire and just suck every single year, but still get to stay in the MLS. You just got to let certain teams in the MLS just spend all their money, which I think is a great thing, because Inter Miami is probably going to try to save MLS soccer. And now they're trying to now Inter Miami is trying to basically buy all of Messi's old teammates. So, I mean, moving forward, Messi basically has in his contract too that once he retires from the MLS, he basically won't have any right to buy any MLS team, but he can basically any willing MLS team, he can automatically take ownership of that team. So probably not certain teams, like he definitely won't be able to buy his way into the Seattle Sounders or the LA Galaxy, but there'd be certain big market teams that have always been kind of up in the air, like Chicago Fire or maybe FC Dallas, some of these other big market teams. Messi's going to have like straight up dibs on just taking over and owning the team. So I think it kind of reinvigorates the not the love, but the idea to come play for the MLS to these older, aging stars. I mean, kind of the last big name star that we had that was aging was either Wayne Rooney or Zlatan Ibrahimovic. So
Yeah,
I think it's kind of important that we got it.
That was a while ago. But yeah, Messi's good for MLS. He's not making the Saudi money, which I think he was going to make like over $1 billion, right? If he played for long enough, he was going to make like $1 billion with the Saudis. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's good that they can throw money around. You know, they threw money at the PGA, and even though the PGA swore against them and, you know, banned players for, you know, taking up the Live Golf offer, you know, because they were throwing like, you know, 9 figures at Tiger and Rory and, you know, all those big names. And the PGA swore that they, you know, were banned them for life. So they kind of competed for 2 years and look, they folded. Now the PGA is merging with the Live Golf. With, you know, they're backed by Saudi money. So it's good to see. Like, I don't have anything personally against Saudi Arabia. I feel like they're a good country, but it's good to see that, you know, players aren't looking for just money. Like, Messi obviously came to the MLS for money, but it's more like, hey, he saw like the need for basically older stars once they're past their prime. Hey, let's leave Europe. Let's keep going back to the United States because there is a market here. These guys want to see us. You know, not a lot of Americans can, you know, even afford to fly to Europe to go see some of these games. Like, you know, they can't fly to London and go see a Chelsea game or like a Manchester game or something, or you can't fly to Paris to go see a PSG game. You know, it's not possible for a lot of people. So It's good that a lot of these older stars, you know, there was waves before it and we kind of had a dry spell. And I think Messi is going to be that new wave of people, especially with his deal, because like you said, he can potentially get ownership after he retires. And I'm pretty sure he gets a share of some of the TV deal, right? Like every game he plays, he gets some of that TV money or something like that. I think I read that.
Yep. It's just that different ways to increase his salary without increasing his guaranteed contract money.
Okay, so it's good they're being creative. I think they need to continue to be creative to get some of these guys. Like Ronaldo, he's probably stuck over there in Saudi Arabia, but even guys like, if they can get like Christian Pulisic to come back to America and play, like get him on some similar deal, like that would be huge. Like we need America doesn't have too many good soccer players, but if we can like get our younger or like even middle-aged soccer players to come back to America and we can kind of keep some like the homegrown talent here with some of these more creative deals. If they can keep doing these type of deals, I feel like that would be very, very huge because as far as I know, Messi's deal is like one of a kind. So if they can continue to allow it, then hey, I'm all for it. Let's keep American talent here so we can, you know, it makes it more popular because people want to see their own people, right? So we want to see Americans. If we get good Americans like Pulisic, it's just going to grow in popularity. It's just inevitable.
I think certain things that the MLS needs to have happen is they need to expand and improve the Champions League that we have over here for basically the CONCACAF. Essentially, all it is I think it's Brazilian teams, Mexican teams, United States teams, and they all compete in like the Champions League style format. But it's kind of trash. Nobody watches it. It's not televised very well. I mean, heck, the only game I saw, even on TV remotely, was the final, which was Leon versus LA FC. But they need a way to improve it, expand it, and they just need to add, like, you know, the smaller countries that are around. Like, they should have the two best teams from the Ecuadorian League and the two best teams from the Colombian League. They just need to expand it so more countries are involved watching it. And then they need to give it a bigger base. Like, I'm sorry, the MLS needs to just sell out of the Apple TV contract and go back to be on ESPN Plus when it was actually successfully making money, because everything makes money on ESPN Plus. Because if I have nowhere else, if I have nothing to watch on TV, I'm just going to put on ESPN Plus because something's always on ESPN Plus. I mean, the league below the MLS, where all their startup teams, basically their minor league teams, they're all playing on ESPN Plus. So doesn't it make sense that your minor league teams are on ESPN Plus, and then your regular teams are on Apple TV? But I do remember listening and hearing that what was it? I don't know what it's called. I know the team is in Sacramento, but the Sacramento minor league team had higher ratings than LA Galaxy on Apple TV. And the Sacramento team is, I'm pretty sure it's LA Galaxy's minor league team. So the minor league team had higher TV ratings than LA Galaxy, and it was because Sacramento was on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I feel like another thing, especially with soccer or football, I think especially in America, it needs to be year round. Like, I know, there's seasons in America, but with all these indoor stadiums, with especially a lot of these teams being in the South or out West, I feel like they could very easily do year-round soccer, or at least let's get spring, summer, and like early fall. Because I feel like if you can get more games, equals more revenue, which equals you can pay people more, and then you already got your kind of minor league affiliation going on. Let's get a relegation system going. Once you get the more money flowing in, maybe the MLS can buy one of these lower leagues officially, and let's get some relegation going. Like, they need to do European soccer, but they need to do it with like an American twist. I feel like that's probably their best model. I feel like that they need to work towards, at least.
Yep, with you on that. All right, so that pretty much wraps it up for the day, everyone. Hope you enjoyed it. We're gonna move on to rapid fire, get some things off our chest, and call it a show. So let's head on over to rapid fire. All right, the rapid fire has begun. We're gonna throw these things at you really quick, and you're gonna give me your thoughts on it. Starting off, Djokovic is now the winningest tennis player of all time. He sucks. Anywho, it's Rafael Nadal for life, baby. How do you feel about him winning the Frenchie?
I mean, I'm happy for him. Personally, I'm a Roger Federer guy. That's my guy. Nadal, he's good as well, but I don't know, something about Djokovic just like rubs me the wrong way. Like, wasn't he like accused of doing PEDs and stuff like that? Like, I don't know if all his Grand Slams are legit. So, I mean, I'm happy for him, but it kind of taints it like it taints baseball. Like, if you're like accused of that stuff, like, I don't know, I see you in a different light. But Serbia has a bunch of good athletes. Like, Uncle Shay said it this morning. He was like, or I think it was yesterday morning. He was like, I want to know what's in that water in Serbia because they got some good athletes. So shout out to Serbia. You got 2 champions in like a 24-hour window. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he cries about everything. He uses injury timeouts to his advantage more than anyone else I've ever seen. Again, he cries about everything. He did get a COVID vaccine.
Anti-vaxxer, yep.
Yeah, he's just, there's so many things. I mean, I think also he's kind of benefited off of Nadal and Federer, their rivalry, because those two went back and forth just beating each other for titles. And Djokovic kind of, I wouldn't say on the tail end of their careers because he's just as old as they are, He's like what, 4 years younger than they are.
He's younger than them,
but he's not like a whole lot younger than them. But like, he's got the benefit from the fact that like they're always going at each other. He can wipe out the one who's tired, who finally gets past the other one. I don't know. It just seems like I don't know. For me, he's just a hard guy to enjoy watching. I kind of have the same feelings about him as I did Andy Murray as a kid. Andy Murray just cries about every single thing. Now,
yes, he does.
Andy Murray did not win as much as Djokovic.
No.
Sorry. So it is what it is.
But when he won, he let you know. Let me tell you that.
But next up, you got Fred VanVleet. His possible landing spot since he told the Rockets with their new head coach, Dipper Rooney's, I'm not coming back. I'm not going to spoil the fun. You just told me where you think he's going to go, which is the 76ers. I told you I think you're crazy because, well, why the heck would I want to go back to a place I'm going to get taxed to high hell after being in Toronto where I got taxed to high hell? Like, I want my money, okay? I want my money. Sorry, the man's going to go to Florida or Texas, man. He's going somewhere where he keeps half his bank.
Well, unless he wants to play for the Magic, I don't think he's coming to Florida. Or what other teams they have in Texas? The Rockets, if he wants to go. I mean, here's the thing, right? I think in this free agency, and we'll have a free agency show probably next week, but Fred VanVleet is probably like your B tier free agents this upcoming offseason. Your A tier is going to be your James Hardens, your Kyries, potentially your CP3s. Like, those are your main guys. Fred VanVleet's kind of like in that B tier. So, honestly, it all depends on where those guys go first. I think Philly makes the most sense just because Philly's going to lose Harden. They're going to need a point guard. Hey, let's go get VanVleet. But if Bradley Beal's available, I think the Sixers are going to go for Beal. So
Bradley Beal is never going to be available.
We talked about it. Michael Winger is aggressive GM, and I see and I've heard that they're going to be aggressive. So
Beal is dying a wizard.
There will be some changes in Washington, and that somehow might end up with Beal in Philly or Miami. So Fred VanVleet's his landing spot. I'm thinking Philly, or like you said, maybe the Rockets if they miss out on Harden.
I can't wait to have this show with you about ranking spots for certain players. You have a former champion as a B tier, and you're gonna have.
If you look at the A tier, it's Hall of Famers.
He's not a Hall of Famer. I don't give a damn about no Hall of Famers. He's a better leader. He's a better leader than Harden. He's a better leader than Kyrie.
He ain't no Hall of Famer, though.
Kyrie got carried to the title.
This is true.
Harden hasn't even won a title. Chris Paul hasn't even won a title. Chris Paul is a pretty good leader, so I'm not going to shit on him for that. But Harden just wants to get fucked up at the club and casino in Vegas. So let's be realistic here.
All right, so you thinking a Florida team or a Texas team?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm all about the money, right? The man's just he's been taxed really hard in Canada. Taxation has no representation in Canada. They get bent over. He's not going to go to Philly where half the people want to get out just because they're just losing all their money. I mean, one of the reasons why Harden wants to leave is because he loses all his money to taxes. Because they have to pay for that I-95 getting destroyed somehow, bro.
Oh, the bridge, yeah. That's going to be billions of dollars.
I-95 is getting paid by someone. It's the Pennsylvania people that are going to get taxed. So,
unfortunately.
Just telling you, like, if I'm him, I'm going to go somewhere where I can get my monies. I can get my monies up.
He's definitely getting a bag, but...
And the Magic can give me a bag, and I'm not going to play with complete bums. I got Paulo. He ain't a bum. Maybe get me one one non-bum besides Paulo, and we got a team here. Now, what kind of other non-bum can they get? I don't know. As long as they get rid of, like, I don't know, Markel Fultz.
Jalen Suggs, get rid of those two.
Maybe Wendell Carter Jr.
Yeah, nah, he's good. You gotta keep him. He's your center. You gotta keep him. He's good. He's like an 18. He's like a 15-8 guy. He's good.
Keep Cole Anthony and run Van Vliet at the shooting guard.
Yeah, I would do that for sure.
Yeah, well, I think Orlando can give him the biggest payday, and he can be the veteran leader they always wanted and worshipped. He'd be a king out there. And lastly, we got Stephon Diggs not reporting to minicamp, mandatory minicamp. Reports say McDermott, the coach, Sean McDermott, is very concerned. Raquel, would you consider yourself very concerned about this?
If I'm Bills Mafia, yes, because if you saw the end of their season where they got stomped by yours truly, he was not a happy camper, and he definitely was yelling at Josh Allen for doing Josh Allen things, and yeah, he was not a happy camper, and at least I thought it was just like, post, end game and post game, like emotions, like everyone's going to be emotional when you think it's, they thought it was their year. They're going against a lower seed. Hey, we're supposed to win at home in the snow. Like, this is our element. No, they got stomped. Rightfully so, he's pissed. I thought I was going to blow over, but apparently they still have beef. Reports are it's like non-football. I forget how they word it. It's like non-football. Well, they didn't say personal reasons or family reasons. So usually when it's like non-football or like non-financial stuff, they usually will say personal reasons or, ex-players out because of family issues or something, So this is basically telling me, hey, there's beef in that locker room. This man said he ain't coming back until he apologizes. So is it time to move off of Diggs? I don't think so. But the man needs to come to mandatory minicamp, and it's not because of money issues. So I don't know how they're gonna fix this. I don't know. Do you have an idea?
Oh no, you literally have to get on your hands and knees and tell them you're sorry, because if you're Josh Allen and you're on the verge of possibly losing Stephon Diggs, you better start puckering up, because if you're going to run into the next season with your top asset being Gabe Davis, you might as well just not even show up. You might as well just go home. Because if we thought he ran the ball too much last season, he ain't going to have a running back. He ain't going to have a wide receiver. His tight end's going to be Dawson Knox, so B tier at best. Nah, dude. Just,
yeah.
That ain't it, Chief. That ain't it.
And he posted on IG like a couple hours ago, I just be letting people cap. If them lies help you sleep better, tell them, big dog. So there's obviously beef. He's obviously pissed off at, he's pissed off at Josh Allen. He's probably pissed off at his coach. The whole team's going to have to get on their hands and knees, because without Diggs, they're like, what, a 7th seed? Like, they're not going to, like, they were probably barely going to win the division anyway. Without him, ugh, it's looking ugly.
Well, remember when they said that, what was the reasoning? What was it? Josh Allen cheated on his girlfriend, and his girlfriend kicked him out of the house right before the playoff game or something?
That happened?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
I thought he was dating like a celebrity or something.
I remember what I remembered was whatever girl he was with, he cheated on her like the night before, and then she found out. She kicked him out, put him in a hotel room the night before the playoff game. So he spent the night before the playoff game in a hotel.
What, buddy?
And then he couldn't get his mental focus because he was too busy concerned about that. And one of the things Stephon Diggs was shouting at him about was, get your head in the game. This is football. Stop having your personal life be an issue.
Bro, how you get kicked out of your own house? Like, she didn't pay for that damn house. Yo, to all the men out there, you gotta, especially if you're the breadwinner, you can't be, no. And don't do stupid stuff if you're a man. You got a girlfriend, be faithful. Don't do stupid stuff like this, man. Don't get kicked out of your own house. You pay for it. You make millions of dollars. Come on now.
Let me find this thing, dude.
I didn't know that. I just thought that he was just doing. I mean, like I said, I thought he was dating a celebrity, number one, and then number two, I thought he was just being regular Josh Allen and just was probably looking at how big the snow was instead of where to throw the ball. I don't know. But apparently his agent said that he's gonna be in Buffalo for the camp, but didn't confirm that he's gonna participate. So it's like he's there. So basically I think he's just like, is he just waiting for an apology like we've been saying, or is it like, what is it? Like, you're there but you're not there. Like, you see what I'm saying?
Oh, he broke up with his girlfriend the night before the playoff game. But it was like the week before his playoff game, so I don't even know how it matters.
But did he still get kicked out though? Is that the big thing? Like, he got kicked out?
I can't remember where I remember reading it and listening about it last year, like 3 weeks after the Super Bowl. But now I can't find it. But I'm reading now, and they're just talking about how he broke up with his girlfriend like the week of the game. Bro, it's football, bro. Get your head in the game, bro.
Both of them. They both make too much money to be like beefing. Like,
make too much money to be crying about this kind of stupid shit. Like your team is obviously so close to being there. Just suck it up and make it there.
Multiple years in a row, and let's be honest, like, neither one of you is leaving. You're like the two best players besides Von Miller. Like, you three are untouchable. A team would have to give away like half the roster to get either three, like, one of the three of you guys. So it's just not happening. Suck it up. Let the beef die down. Don't let this turn into like a Draymond and Jordan Poole moment where it derails your season. Just let it be bygones. Like, it's whatever. I think it's stupid.
Well, oh yeah, Twitter user drops wild rumor explaining how Josh Allen's nasty breakup resulted in the Bills' playoffs loss versus the Bengals. I found it. It was on TMZ.
Okay, so if TMZ's reporting this, then it's probably damn near true.
And then it says, so apparently Josh Allen cheated on his longtime, now ex-girlfriend from high school, got the other woman pregnant, and it all blew up on the day before the Super Bowl. The day before the Bengals versus Bills divisional playoff game, which is why Stephon Diggs was yelling at him on the sidelines.
Idiot. What the? That's insane.
Yep. TMZ reported it. TPS is reporting it. Sportskeeda, I read them for betting a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all over. It was all over Twitter. I just remember it being a big deal last year.
Yeah, I didn't remember that. All I remember is I think he's dating a celebrity now, or was seeing with one. But yeah, that's insane. Oh my god. As soon as you said TMZ, I was like, all right, this is legit. Like, TMZ's not going to report misinformation, so yeah, at least they usually don't. So damn, get over the beef, guys. Come on now. He just a dog. He's just a dog. Unfortunately, he's just a dog. Not the dog, not the dog you want though. Not the dog you want.
No. I mean, Diggs has every right to tell him, like, hey, dude, get your head out your ass, stop doing dumb shit at home and affecting my playoff game. I'm getting older and I can't do this. I can't keep doing this forever, man. I'm going to have to win in my prime. I can't do it forever. I mean, look across the fucking field. Their best other wide receiver is Gabe Davis. You need me. I'm not the problem. You're the problem.
Literally, your second best target shows up every other game. So
yeah,
you probably will like your chances more if I play.
And then your only other options are Cole Beasley, and he's old and washed. And the other option is Isaiah McKenzie. Outside of like one game a year, I don't even know that man's existence. So, I mean, you can't expect Dawson Knox carry at tight end because he's not Mark Andrews. He ain't Kittle. He ain't Hawkinsox. He ain't Kelsey. He's not even in a different universe than them. He's in a different solar system on a different universe than them.
You can't count on the rookie tight end. I mean,
he's going to at least need half a year to come together.
Yep.
So, Diggs, I'm sorry.
We're sorry, buddy. We're sorry you're with a dog.
I'll get on my knees. All right, bud. Well, I had fun tonight.
Yes, sir. Tonight was a good episode. Good to be back after our week hiatus, but we will get the train rolling once again. See you guys.
Have a good one, everyone.